Hey, welcome back to YT Finance, and this is the channel where I went to business school so you didn't need to, and today we are going over the newest news updates for Palantir Technologies PLTR stock. We will talk about how Palantir helped launch a satellite into orbit, why the stock price has risen by over 32% recently, why some investment professionals think that the stock can double over the next 12 months, and lastly, we are going to discuss why some insiders have been selling their Palantir shares. For more videos and news updates on Palantir Technologies, remember to go and smash that like button right now, subscribe if you are new, comment your thoughts down below about Palantir, and without further ado, let's jump right into today's stories. So the first story that we're going to go over is the story talking about how Palantir helped launch a satellite into space. So if you didn't know, Palantir currently works with a company named Satellogic, and Satellogic uses satellites to collect data, and Palantir helps process this particular data. This is very similar to what Black Sky does, which is one of the companies involved in Palantir's Foundry for Builders programs, and I have done multiple videos on both Black Sky as well as Satellogic. But it's really nice to hear how Palantir Technologies launched, according to this article, their first satellite this month into orbit, which according to Bloomberg is a step forward to broadening the applications of the data analysis software that Palantir offers. And as far as I can tell, this really didn't get a lot of news coverage from other YouTubers, so I just wanted to put that on your radar to make sure that there are some good news catalysts coming up regarding Palantir Technologies, but the news even gets better. We are also going to talk about how recently the stock price has recovered around 32% since their lows. However, more recently, the stock price has pulled back from around $14.60 down to around $13 per share. However, investment professionals still think that Palantir Technologies has massive upside within the next year. So over the next 12 months, one analyst even thinks that the stock price could literally double. So overall, the very bullish price prediction for this company is very, very good, which is why some investors even think that the PLTR stock price could go up to around $31. And if you follow this channel, you would know that that's the Morningstar fair value price for the PLTR stock. If you are new to Palantir Technologies, Palantir is a big data and analytics company that serves both commercial clients as well as government agencies. And recently the PLTR stock price has pulled back, but before that, the PLTR stock price actually saw some good momentum, closing around 6% higher, which actually beat out very prestigious investments such as QQQ, which represents the NASDAQ 100, which only closed with a gain of around 2%. So Palantir is clearly for more aggressive buyers. However, if you are into building wealth over the long term, investing into ETFs such as VOO, MTUM, and QQQ are some of your best bets. But for those of you who really like Palantir Technologies and you see future potential and growth in this company, then stay tuned because we have a lot of news to cover. We're going to start off with its overall price gain and why it has rallied back nearly 50% since its low when it was trading around $9 per share. Most analysts right now think that the stock is going to be very volatile between the $9 price and the $13 price. However, if the company can break above around $15 per share, we could see the stock almost double according to this author and according to Morningstar. The author of this article is so bullish, in fact, that he thinks that the PLTR stock will literally double or greater in the next 12 months. And to me, that is extremely bullish. Now, for me, I don't know if that will happen. I think we're going to have to wait a little longer for the PLTR stock to double, but I know that they are approaching profitability, and I've done multiple videos on explaining the math behind that, and I think once the company becomes profitable, then the stock price could easily double from then on. But right now, Palantir really needs to give investors something tangible to hold on to so they can feel comfortable by investing more money into the PLTR stock. However, with that being said, if you are too overexposed to the PLTR stock, your best bet is probably just to hold the company right now, because during the meantime, between now and 2024, the stock price is going to be very volatile, which is why, again, most professionals think that the company is going to trade between $9 and $13 for the next couple of months or even years, depending on what analyst you actually listen to. Now, that's not to say that these analysts are going to be right. Anytime an analyst or analysts say anything, we need to take it with a giant grain of salt, because some are very bullish, some are very bearish, bearish, and they calculate their price targets very differently. Luckily, the sentiment from analysts have not deterred retail investors, because ever since the stock price has fallen around 80% from its January 2021 all-time highs, the company has kept its stock price above water, and that would be above $9 per share, because if it drops below $9 per share, we could see immense selling pressure. But luckily, the company is keeping itself above that $9 mark, because some people think that the PLTR stock could fall as low as $5 per share. However, I don't think this is very plausible due to Palantir's rapid growth and their future growth projections that we have gone over in multiple earnings reports. So I personally don't see Palantir Technologies dropping below $9 per share anytime soon, mainly because their growth projections are so competitive. However, with that being said, the Palantir stock price still trades at somewhat of a premium because it's trading at around 14 times their sales right now, which is really not too bad for a growth stock, especially a growth stock that has the caliber that Palantir Technologies has, because in the future, this company could be an absolute monster, being worth hundreds of billions of dollars. So even though the current valuation does trade at a slight premium, investors actually want to buy this stock right now because in the future they think that the company is going to be worth substantially more, and they're willing to take on that risk. Palantir's valuation is also a lot less risky if we incorporate their overall earnings growth, which is nearly 44% based on the historical data. I also want to say that Palantir Technologies has actually disproved bears multiple times. For instance, about a year ago, the bearish negative naysayers and critics of Palantir Technologies says that the company is too heavily reliant on government contracts and they need to diversify their overall revenue source. However, since then, Palantir Technologies has clearly diversified their revenues, because around 42% of their revenues right now are coming from their commercial customers, and I definitely support this because I think that their commercial customers will bring in more revenues in the future than their government clients. And naturally, I think this is going to lead the company into profitability. On screen right now, you can see their overall stock price chart with some technical analysis and, of course, candlesticks. Once the company DPO'd, it skyrocketed because investors were very bullish on this company at first. However, from its original skyrocket, it consolidated until recently it started a major downtrend due to various macroeconomic factors that we have addressed multiple times, but just a few of them would be rising interest rates and the geopolitical pressure between Russia, Ukraine, the United States, and China. But many other factors are at play here, including investors selling their growth stocks and investing into value stocks, or investors liquidating their entire stock positions and investing into the bond market, which I definitely would not recommend. The good news, however, is that there are not just negative bearish analysts covering Palantir Technologies, we also have some positive analysts covering this company. For instance, right now they have around 11 analysts reviewing the company of Palantir Technologies, and they are pretty bullish overall. 5 analysts maintain a hold recommendation for Palantir, at least during these times of uncertainty. However, if we just look at Wall Street analysts specifically, they have a sell rating on the company right now. So depending on which way you lean, I think holding is much better than selling the PLTR stock, because again, most investors are investing into this company due to its future growth prospects, not what the company is currently generating or worth right now at the present time. It also has a pretty good median price target of around $15 like we discussed earlier, with the lowest end analyst price target being $9. However, according to Wall Street, the most bullish price target is $16. But the analysts that I currently studied for this video gave price targets anywhere between $23 and $31, which is why $25.30 or $25 in total to me is the most accurate bullish price prediction. So if you got into the PLTR stock at around $9, then well done. You are most likely in the green right now. However, for those of you who got into the PLTR stock price back when the stock prices were very high, the best thing you can do is either to hold for the long term, or if you don't want to hold the company for the long term, feel free to liquidate the company and then invest into other companies or high growth conviction plays in the meantime, and then bounce back into this stock. The only reason why I don't normally advocate for this, and I'm not advocating for it right now, is because everyone is different, so that strategy might not be be good for you. The second reason why I definitely would not do that, in my personal opinion, is because if you decide to liquidate your PLTR shares, you are actualizing those losses. However, if you believe in the long term that the company will more than pay for itself, then why not just hold the company? Also, if you end up selling your PLTR shares and jumping out of the company, you might miss the boat when trying to jump back in, because as soon as a really high catalyst comes up, the stock price could absolutely take off. And that's what this author actually believes. He thinks that the stock price is going to double based off of an approaching catalyst, even though we don't really know what that catalyst is. I personally think the catalyst is going to be them reaching profitability on a GAAP basis. However, we're going to have to wait and see. But I am more than willing to hold my PLTR shares until 2024, 2025, and even 2030. The author also believes that Palantir Technologies won't see $9 per share ever again, because he believes that the stock price has bottomed out, so to speak, and from here it's going to be very volatile, but the overall volatility is still going to be an uptrend overall, and that's something to at least look forward to on the graph. And this is why he says this could be the very beginning of a very bullish phase for investors and the PLTR stock. So that's something to look forward to. However, despite this very bullish news on the company, what about the bearish news? Because you all know that I like to compare both the bullish and bearish news, and I don't like to be biased, even though I do personally own the PLTR stock, along with a plethora of other growth stocks. The bad news is that insiders have been selling the PLTR stock, and they haven't really been buying. Now, I do want to mention that there are a plethora of reasons why various insiders could sell a company. However, there's normally only one reason why insiders buy a company, and that means that the current stock price is worth less than what the company's intrinsic or fair value price is. But with that being said, we haven't seen any insiders buying up the PLTR stock lately, so why are they selling? One reason could be that they are facing taxes or they just need money, and all of those are very adequate answers to this question. I also want to point out that the independent director of Palantir Technologies has made a very large insider sale within the last 12 months because he liquidated around $2.6 million worth of shares at a stock price of around $26.19. And honestly, I would say well done. This guy almost perfectly timed the crash down to around $9 per share, so he clearly made out on that deal. However, with that being said, it doesn't shine much light or tell us why other investors and why other insiders are selling this stock. And it also doesn't shine any light on why the insiders are not buying any more of the PLTR stock. So right now, over the last 12 months, you can see down here in the stock chart, you can see that recently there hasn't been any real buying or selling. However, over the last 6 to 9 months or 9 to 12 months or even 3 to 6 months, we have seen some selling in the PLTR stock. However, with the stock dropping lower, I do think we could see more insiders buying up their Palantir shares. But even if that doesn't happen, this doesn't mean that the stock price is not going to appreciate, because as the company moves closer and closer toward profitability, this is going to invigorate investors to buy more PLTR shares, which is going to invigorate investors to buy more PLTR shares, which is why their earnings reports are so important. Looking and following the earnings reports, which I break down on this channel, are so important. And right now, I am extremely satisfied with their growth rate of over 30% from now until 2025, and they've actually been beating that projection that came in from their management. So overall, I do like Palantir Technologies. However, I am just currently holding the company and I am not buying any more. I've also almost capped out my portfolio with Palantir Technologies because, as you all know, I don't allocate more than 5% of my portfolio weight to a single company, and right now I'm trading at around 4% for this particular company. I only have 1% left to average down my average cost basis. However, if the stock price starts to appreciate very rapidly, I might add that last 1% to get to 5%, just because that could be the big boom that the previous author was talking about that will start a new bullish cycle for investors. For those of you that are concerned about insider selling, I would say don't be. Insiders still own a very significant portion of the overall company, which is very bullish. It says right now that Palantir Technologies is currently owned by insiders, which make up around 10% ownership in the company. That's around $3 billion in total. So insiders insiders clearly have skin in the game, and the reason why this is very important is because it shows us that these insiders actually have shareholders' best interest in mind, because if they are shareholders themselves, they clearly want the PLTR stock price to continuously trend upward. So that should at least give us some confidence that investors are just selling a very small portion of the amount of overall shares that they own, because collectively they own around $3 billion. Also, I really like Peter Thiel and Alex Karp, and I think they are doing a phenomenal job with Palantir Technologies right now, and I can't wait to see what this company makes of itself in the future. There are a lot of good news stories right now happening regarding Palantir Technologies. I am looking forward to their next earnings report, and I am waiting on the next bullish catalyst to initiate a growth phase in the PLTR stock. Lastly, I want to point out that it is good news that insiders have not sold the PLTR stock in the last 3 months, which is very bullish news. However, it would be even more bullish if we end up seeing insiders buying more PLTR stock, because I think that would speak volumes. But until then, I would love to hear your thoughts down below on Palantir Technologies. Smash that like button right now for more news updates on Palantir. Subscribe if you are new, and I will see you in the next YT video.